Hi, Hot listeners. Welcome to episode 44 of Husband and Wife Talks. On today's episode, we'll talk about a recent hike that we went on, some of our favorite hiking gear/essentials, and then we'll talk about several outdoor activities and give you some fun facts and statistics. Stay tuned.
Hey, Marta.
Hi, Adam.
We're back again on episode 44. I realized I messed up last episode. Shout out to AK, or since we're calling him by his first name now, Alan, for pointing that out to me. And then in the intro, for some reason, I said 45. I don't know what was going on with me last week, but it wasn't. Apparently, my brain wasn't functioning with numbers, so apologize for any confusion. But we're on 44 now, and it's going to be released today, July 31st. We're a little late on this one. Yeah, just saying how it is. There's no reason behind it. We're just a little behind.
Life happens.
Yeah, it does. But how are you doing today? We just got back from the gym, well, an hour ago, and it was a pretty difficult workout. That's for sure.
Tired.
You feeling tired?
Yeah.
Work you good?
Ready to share our topic for today.
I would like to point out, because I remember I feel like we did resolutions way back when on this podcast, and I would like to concur or state that I've been keeping up with my resolution of working out at least 4 times a week. I think that was the resolution.
I don't know what your resolution was.
Yeah, I don't know exactly off the top of my head. I'll have to go back
You better
to the
hope
show
it
notes.
wasn't 5 times a week, because you're not doing that.
Well, we've been hiking a lot more, so I count that as a workout. So then I have been. But I'm proud of myself with where I'm at now. I still want to keep going, but
hashtag gains.
Yeah, hashtag gains. I dropped 20 pounds since we've started working out at this place.
Wow.
Yeah, and we've been eating healthy. I feel like I dropped at least 10 from when we started getting really into the
serious
slim or cutting or whatever it's called, the shredded chef meal plans.
Wow.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, because I'm proud of it, so I wanted to share it with all y'all. So
we're proud of you too. That was the Hot Pod listeners as they're listening to the podcast.
Yeah. I can hear them in my ears right as we speak.
Yep.
It's like they're here. So, Marta, what actually have we been up to? I'll let you take the reins on this.
Woo! So, hiking.
Been doing it a lot lately.
Saturday. Yeah, I went Saturday and Sunday. Saturday we went together, though, Adam and I.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually a funny story. I like telling stories. So if you don't like stories, don't listen.
Why are you here at the pod? We
yeah,
tell stories all the time.
Podcast is literally just people telling different types of stories.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, so here's the story. I wanted to go hiking somewhere on Saturday, and we kind of weren't sure where we wanted to go. So the previous weekend we did a quote-unquote hike, but it literally was just a walk in the park. Like, it was on a road. It was pretty flat. It was nice scenery, but it wasn't really what you would imagine as a hike, or at least it wasn't what I imagined as a hike. So I wanted to do something a little more scenic this weekend.
And something more exciting.
So I had been bothering Adam about the All Trails app and website. They list the difficulty of the trail: easy, moderate, or difficult. And last weekend, I kept showing Adam, like, difficult ones that were 10, 12 miles. And he was like, maybe we should work our way up to that and not, start on that.
Silly concept, right, people?
Very silly. I really couldn't understand. So I was like, okay, fine, we'll do moderate. And then this past weekend, I was looking at different hikes again, and I brought one up. And I think it's called Sky Pond at Rocky Mountain National Park. It was listed as difficult, but has really good reviews, and it's rated as one of the top ones at the park. So we agreed to do that one, even though it was difficult. And then I woke up, I think we set our alarms for around 6 on Saturday because we wanted to get to the park before it got too busy. So I woke up before my alarm, and I just started reading about the hike on the All Trails website on my phone. I didn't want to wake Adam up because it was still early, and I was like, there's no point in waking him up early. So I was doing some research and reading people's reviews on the Sky Pond hike that I thought we would go on. And I see one comment, someone's like, yeah, it's a little rough climbing the waterfall. And I'm like, climbing the waterfall? Climbing a waterfall? Climbing a waterfall?
Whoa.
What the heck?
Sorry, people's ears.
I'm sorry, but that's what I was thinking. Like, how am I... What? No. So then I got pretty nervous, and I started reading, and people said that was kind of hard and slippery, and you got to be really careful. And I was like, I don't think Adam's going to be down for this.
I wasn't going to be down for
Yeah.
it. It sounds like you were having some doubts about this hike.
It sounds like I had doubts, yes, but really I got more excited. I was like,
Oh.
yes, I've always wanted to climb a waterfall. Oh my gosh.
You're just nervous for me, my sake.
Yes.
Wow, you're just so considerate.
I'm a very caring person, and I just wanted Adam to be as safe as possible. So, no, I'm kidding. I was really scared when I read that, and I was like, we can do that one day, but maybe not that day.
Okay, so now where did that lead us?
Great question. So then it's still, 5:30 a.m. and I'm still laying in bed looking on my phone researching.
Yeah, for some reason you have a hard time waking up during the weekdays. At any early time, you seem sleepier, but on the weekends you just pop right up at 5 o'clock or 5:30, just wide awake, ready to go read, ready to do research, ready to do whatever.
Yeah, it's strange. And I think when we lived on the East Coast, I literally never woke up at 5:30 on my own. I think it's only here. I don't know why. But anyway, so then I started doing research to find trails that were maybe moderate, because when I realized that difficult meant potentially climbing up a waterfall, I thought maybe we should get a little bit more experience with some more moderate hikes, considering the week before we literally just walked on a paved road in a park. Seems like a big jump to go from that to climbing up a waterfall. So anyway, I found this trail. It was called Blue Lake and Little Blue Lake via Mitchell Lake Trail.
It was good, very good find.
Yeah, I really liked that trail. So I found it. It was about hour 40, I want to say, from our apartment. It was northwest of Boulder, just kind of in the mountains in that area. I think
you said it was relatively close to Rocky Mountain National Park, right?
Distance-wise, it looked close, but I think driving from there to Rocky Mountain would have been far, just because when you're in the mountains, just because you can see something doesn't mean it's easy to get there via road.
Easy access, yeah.
But we got there, and there was a line outside. So this trail was at a national forest.
Roosevelt National Forest.
Which meant that you had to pay. And I was like, oh, man. And then Adam pulls out, because we bought an annual national park pass, which I think was $70 or $80. It was really inexpensive, and we've already gotten our money's worth. But he pulled it out, and I was like, this isn't a national park. It doesn't work. And I was like, it's a national forest, which I apparently just totally ignored, because I do not remember him saying that at all.
She thought it would work for a state park, but not a national forest, folks.
Yeah, if you have been a loyal listener, then you might remember my story about marching into a state park and waving around my national park pass and realizing that the national park pass is for national parks and also national forests. So we didn't have to pay the, whatever it was, $8 or $12, which was nice. But we got there, and there's a line, like they're not letting cars into the park. And so we stop, and I'm driving, so I pull the window down, and the attendant of the
again, the nitty-gritty details, folks.
Because I thought it was funny. She was like, yeah, the parking lots are full, so we're not letting any more cars in. And I'm like, just our luck, huh? We drove an hour and 40. Well, we stopped to get breakfast, and then we kept driving in the middle of the mountains, specifically to this hike, and the parking lot's closed. That's great. Great timing on our part. Anyway, 10 minutes later, they finally... some cars left, so we got to go in. We drove to the trailhead, had to wait around for someone to leave, finally got parking. It starts raining.
Did it start raining while we were waiting?
It was drizzling a little bit, yeah. And then it stopped.
Already got the adrenaline pumping at the start of this hike. It was like a 6-mile hike, 6.2. So 3 miles there, 3 miles back, because it was just back, out and back. But I already got the adrenaline pumping when they say beware of mountain lions and bears on the initial board that it tells you to do. And Marta just decided to take a picture of the mountain lion information just to be safe, even though I don't think we'll have time to pull out.
Yeah, just in case a mountain lion starts attacking me, just so I can say, "Lion, one moment, please. I need to check and see how I'm supposed to handle this. Hey, don't come closer. No. I gotta check my phone real quick."
I think with any animal, from what I've seen, like bears, except for grizzly bears, you don't mess with those. But like black bears, mountain lions, it always says to try to make yourself look big and make loud noises to scare it off. And then if it does come closer to you, throw crap at it. That's what I was saying. Just find stones and throw it at it. That's about it. Hope it scares it off. And then, of course, they had the most obvious statement is if it comes attack you, attack back. Well, of course you're going to attack back, I would hope. You're not supposed to just lay there and take the attack.
Sunbathe as this lion or bear is running at you. Also, a funny thing, before we started on the hike, so we were waiting for a parking spot. This parking lot fit maybe, I don't know, I'm really bad at estimating. I'm going to guess 40 cars. 50? I don't know.
I wouldn't even go that far.
Maybe 30, regardless. Weren't any spots. So first, actually, we went to a different parking lot, and then I realized I took a wrong turn. So the trailhead parking lot was actually completely full. And this guy got to his car after his hike, and it took him at least 5 minutes to actually leave. I was getting so impatient because we had been waited for at least 10 minutes outside the entrance, and now we just were so anxious and eager to start our hike. But we had bug spray in the car, and I said something to Adam about, we should use the bug spray, and this guy he pulled out of his spot and then drove like maybe 10 or 15 feet and then just still stopped there, which was nice of him because it let us pull into his spot. But he got out of his car and was like, "Oh, no need for bug spray. I didn't see any bugs up there." We both got bitten up, so I don't know what he was talking about.
I suggested, to be fair, I did suggest we at least pack it just in case.
Yeah.
We were like, nah, this stranger, he's got our back. But to be fair, maybe early in the morning, less bugs show up, and then when it gets hotter around the water, they start flocking towards it. But yeah, it was a beautiful hike. There was 2 lakes. Towards the end, we got to the main lake that we're supposed to go to, and then, of course, all trails, there's like a little tinier lake farther.
The little blue lake.
Yeah, the little tiny blue lake. We didn't get to that because, one, it was not very obvious how to get there. 2, when we finally figured out the route to get there, it was like a whole, because there was still snow in this area, so there was the whole like sheet of snow that we had to walk across like diagonally to
like
get
almost
to that
a
point.
glacier.
Yeah, and you could see people's treks walking across it, and of course it just slides directly down into the water, and I'm not for that at all because I don't know what's underneath. I'm would be a little nervous walking past that. And of course, a storm is coming on the horizon.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, so the trail is called Blue Lake and Little Blue Lake, and it ends at Little Blue Lake, like Adam said, but the Blue Lake itself we thought was really pretty. I mean, I mentioned that I could just do that trail and just read there, have a picnic. Like, it just felt so peaceful and so beautiful, and it's so funny because I've noticed here that there's so many really good trails, and this one isn't rated number 1 in Colorado, or it's not on any sort of list like that. It's just an average trail, but it was just so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was just like a lake surrounded by these large mountains. The first lake was beautiful, but the second one, I think the first one's Mitchell Lake? Is that what it was called? I believe.
The very first one?
Yeah, the very first one.
Oh, I'm not sure. I just know the second to last one was Blue Lake.
I'm assuming it because it was like Mitchell Lake Trailhead. That's where we parked.
Possibly.
So that's why I made that assumption. But very beautiful. Got to see some moose as we were walking. They were farther away, but they were, gigantic, so you could still see them. They're like bigger than a cow, it seemed like, and they had gigantic antlers.
They were relatively far, though, so I wasn't scared.
We did take a picture of them, though. But we got a few good pictures, which I'm happy about. Is there anything more you want to say about the hike, or should we roll into, since we're big hikers now, we can give some recommendations about our hiking gear and stuff?
I will say that I think the The elevation gain total, according to the All Trails app, was 1,400 feet. And I believe at the end it's around 11,000
I didn't
something.
feel it that much, though, for some reason.
Yeah, I'm not...
Maybe because it was like a slow, gradual.
It wasn't very steep.
Yeah, it wasn't like the incline that we did where it was just you're at elevation and then you're walking up these big, like, gapped steps, you know.
Yeah. So around 10,000, 11,000 feet. But yeah, it was a good hike. I would do it again, but I also wouldn't because there's so many trails here. I just want to explore and see different things.
I feel like there's so many trails just in the Rocky Mountain National Park to explore.
I would do... So on the website, it says that this trail is used... Or it says best used. So I wonder if it's still open the other months of the year. But it says best used from May until October. So presumably if it's still open the other months of the year, you could probably just go snowshoeing on it. Which if you're not sure what snowshoeing is, which I didn't really know what it was, or I'd never seen people actually do it till last
Colorado.
winter. But it's pretty much like these, boots or sneakers, but they just have spikes on them and they have this big oval that your shoes kind of attach to with
So it
little
disperses
spikes.
the weight.
Yeah, it disperses the weight so that when you walk on snow or ice, you're not just falling through with every step. Which I kind of want. I don't want to buy snowshoes, but I definitely want to rent them and just try them out because curious.
Just to see the difference.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll move on to our hiking gear.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't mention this first one, our new hiking shoes, our Merrill hiking shoes that we have, which have come in handy these past few weeks since we've been hiking like crazy, sort of. So I like them. They give you better traction. I got one of them a little muddy because it was wet on the way back.
Just a little muddy.
And my foot
entire foot was submerged.
Not my fault. I didn't expect it to sink that far.
A little muddy.
But I don't have much to say about the shoes since we did talk about them last week, I believe, on our recommendation pod.
Yeah. We also got hiking poles.
Great purchase. I'm already happy with the purchase.
Yeah, both of us. I noticed my feet started hurting 2 weekends ago when we did the flat walk. Which is so weird. But then on this hike, they didn't. Or maybe they did hurt, but very much so towards the end. Where
I think it was a combination of the poles and the socks that we purchased.
Oh, that's right. We got socks that are some percentage wool. Mm-hmm. And I think that the mix of materials, they actually wick away moisture from your feet. Whereas normal socks, if they're cotton, the moisture just kind of stays in your foot, which I'm assuming causes irritation or could cause blisters or things like that.
Yeah, and I think the whole, it being more slick, so like when you have your, because you can feel the difference when you have this sock on, it kind of feels like slick to the touch. And I think that's more so your foot doesn't get caught feeling like the same force rubbed in the same spot. So the force is maybe more dispersed throughout the sock, so to speak. You're not like rubbing up against this one spot on your foot, which I like with these socks. But like you were saying, I think the hiking poles were a good purchase because I feel like my joints, I feel like I sound like old, but my joints walking down didn't hurt nearly as much because you're able to disperse your weight. I feel like I've used the word disperse a lot in this section, but you can put more force down on the poles than your legs as you're walking down the trail, which was really nice. Except for we need to fix the tightness because they're very, very new, so they would slide up all the time.
Yeah, because they were adjustable heights. Mm-hmm. They would just slowly shrink, which was a little annoying.
Yours seemed like it would slowly shrink, which probably wasn't, probably was annoying at certain points. I had one that was really good that stayed stable the whole time, and then one that didn't slowly shrink. If I accidentally put too much force onto it, it would just slip right in, which was really frustrating. Or if I banged into like a rock, because these things just get clobbered while you're walking because you don't pay attention to them, that the thing would loosen up and it would just slide in or slide out.
Yeah, but if we get an Allen wrench, I think we can tighten the joints so that they don't shrink as soon as you just put any type of force on them.
let's continue with our hiking recommendations since we're pros now.
Wouldn't say pros, but one thing, or actually two things that aren't really hand in hand, but they're two things that I started adding to our backpack that we use that I think, one thing we've gotten a lot of use out of, one is more preventative in case something happens, but the first thing is snacks. We bought some beef jerky and then some sort of trail mix with, I don't know, pretty much just looks like bird food to me. Some nuts, seeds, whatever. I'm sure if I put it outside our window, the birds would come flocking. That's a joke. I'm kidding. But I didn't really want to try it because beef jerky just tastes so beefy, like hearty, and trail mix just didn't.
It's a solid ratio of protein to carb to fat. I think it's like 13 grams of protein to 8 carbs to like 2 grams of fat, which is not bad for a snack, especially if you're exerting a lot of calories.
Yeah. And then the second thing I alluded to was carrying around a first aid kit. So I actually, a couple I follow that, I don't think I've mentioned them on the podcast before, but they're a couple that took a year off from their corporate jobs and they've just been driving around the United States in a van, which I think is really cool. And if you want to follow them...
That's the understatement of the year from Marta. Really cool about the van. She loves this van idea.
Yeah.
Every time she sees a van, she points it out.
That's actually not true. On the drive back from the hike, Adam, like, whenever I saw a van, he would look at me and expect me to say something.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times I didn't. But anyway, back to the couple. They have a website where they blog usually each week about where they've been and they post pictures. They also have an Instagram and they're called Louella the Van, Louella. And we can include a link below. I really like it because they just post I think they just posted their anniversary of doing this, and they've been to 47 states, I think, in the past year, which is just wild. They drove to Alaska.
That's pretty cool.
Which, if you look at a map, Alaska is so much further than you imagine.
Mm-hmm.
At least for me. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's like 5 hours past Seattle, and you're there.
Gotta go through that whole thing called Canada.
Yeah. But I really like their account and just following them. But anyway, the reason the first aid kit was related to that was that I saw that the girl in the couple, that she had a really bad, not really bad. I mean, she got stitches, so I think pretty bad. But she had some sort of fall in a hike, and she got a pretty bad cut that she needed stitches for. But she said that she was thankful that they had some sort of first aid stuff to hold her over until she was able to get to a hospital. So that reminded me, like, hey, maybe we should have a first aid kit. I mean, we're not hiking every day like maybe they are, but still, it's better to have Band-Aids and gauze and
just in case.
The pad things, whatever, gauze pads. And I mean, even if we're fine and nothing happens to us, even just a stranger, if they're hurt, being able to help and be able to do something rather than be like, oh, I'm sorry, hope you feel better, and then just slowly walk away awkwardly. So it felt a lot better having a first aid kit. I'm happy about that. And the next thing, which I've had for almost exactly 3 years now. I bought it before I went to Peru in 2016 in July, which is where I did the Machu Picchu trek, which was a legit hard hike before I even hiked regularly. And I found the backpack online at REI because I was curious if they still sell it. They don't, but really any day pack I feel like is good, and day pack is just a smaller backpack that's made for hiking. So my favorite thing about this backpack, which I'm sure is a feature on really any other backpack, is that it has a clip around your waist so that the weight of the backpack is distributed onto your hips versus your back, so that the actual straps, like normal backpacks have, those straps don't really rest on your shoulders. They're kind of a little bit above. So that's how you can tell, at least when I wear it, that's how it is. And I can tell that none of the weight, or a very small amount of the weight, is on my back, and the rest is really on my waist and hips.
Which is important for a longer hikes, because your back can get worn out real quick. If
I
it's
mean,
all
and
on
we're
your back.
talking about snacks, first aid kit, water, layers if you're going up in altitude. So it's important to have something that will fit everything, but also be comfortable.
Speaking of water, it also holds like a hydration pack, right?
Yeah, that was my second favorite thing.
Oh, it's like I
Wow.
can read your mind or look at the doc.
And I have a third favorite thing about it too. But it also has in the part that would face your back, but it's really hard to explain without seeing a picture, but it's the back part of the backpack that touches your back. That part has a little slip where you can put a hydration pack. I think they're also called hydration bladders, but it's pretty much just like a plastic sack that you fill up with water, and it has a tube, and then you can just drink out of it. But it doesn't, at first I thought, oh, isn't that going to feel awkward, like having this pack of water like sloshing around on my back? But because of the design of the backpack, that back part is a little bit removed from your back. And there's a pretty thick layer in between it, so it's still extremely comfortable.
Yeah, that portion that's up against your back or a little against it is like, it's really hard, so you can't feel the water at all.
Yeah.
In the water bladder.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with that backpack.
So what's the third thing? Because you mentioned two.
The third thing is that the clips around the waist have tiny little pockets. So I like to hike with my phone next to me, especially using the All Trails app to figure out where we're going. Especially on this one, we noticed that once we were off of maybe half the way through the trail, there just were no signs anymore. No signs, no markings on the trees, and it was pretty open. So we were like, do we go that way or this way? So I would pull out my phone real quick and just check. And I used it for pictures because it's easier than carrying a camera. So it's just nice to have this little pocket right on my hip that I can just zip, unzip instead of holding my phone in a looser pocket or just tucked in my pants. I just think it's really convenient.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite features.
One thing of note, since I was the one dealing with the backpack. Oh, I just saw lightning this week. Your back does get sweaty wearing these backpacks, just FYI.
Yeah.
Even if it is taking weight off your back, it's still pressed up against your back, and especially if it's hot. All the heat just stays there. And I remember the lower portion of my back was like felt wet the rest of the day. Even though it was like chillier because we had to bring like long sleeves because we were going higher up and it was in the 60s, so we weren't super cold when we got to the lake. But it was just thought it was funny because my back was sort of drenched even when I was sort of chilly when we stopped at the last lake.
Yeah.
I think you've already mentioned this final thing that you love so much, but you can give another shout out to the All Trails app.
Yeah, I know we mentioned it last week or whenever we talked about apps that we were enjoying, but I really like All Trails, especially in situations like I just mentioned where not quite sure where to go, and I got the pro version. It was pretty inexpensive for a whole year, but I just wanted to try it, and I think I've already used it several times since then, and having the offline map is super helpful when you don't have data. We lost cell service probably about 40 minutes away from the actual national forest where we were hiking. We didn't have cell service the entire time. And then about, again, 40 minutes after we left, we finally gained it. So in that kind of situation, you can't just go on Google Maps and try to finagle your way. I mean, the offline map really is super helpful to figure out where you are and how to not end up with the bears.
Yeah. That also reminds me, though, offline maps on Google Maps in general is important when you travel. Just FYI. It's really helpful.
That's true.
I think we plan on using it when we go to New Zealand in a few weeks.
Yeah.
So, fun fact. I guess this leads to our topic this week, where we're just going to be discussing outdoor activities in general. Sort of just stemmed from your thought process. You just wanted, Marta, by you I mean Marta, where she just wanted to list out some more outdoor activities and maybe some statistics on them and a fun fact. I thought that was it would be fun.
Yeah.
So you want me to start?
Sure.
Hiking. Of course, start on hiking. Apparently 44.9 million participants in the United States in 2017. So that's a lot of people that hiked in the United States.
Why
last
did
year.
they say participants instead of just hikers?
I don't know. It's just the Statista. That's where a lot of these stats came from. That's how they do it now. I don't know if they're trying to be gender neutral or what, but I don't know why they can't just say people.
That reminds me, I can't remember the movie for the life of me, but there's some comedy where they go home. It's like a grown adult, or the adult and his girlfriend, and they go to his house, and he has like 12th place ribbons hung up, or his parents have
Meet
them
the
hung
Fockers.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like participation trophy. So whenever people say participant, I always think that there's such a... Participant is so vague, you could probably find a more specific word.
Well, I mean, I guess it sort of fits because they're participating in the hiking.
Yeah, but they're hikers.
Process.
Just call them hikers.
Or people. I don't know. That works too. I feel like you get the points across. But this fun fact, apparently bears basically spend their entire lives hiking. I don't know if it's a fun fact. It's kind of just like a dumb dad joke.
Well, I was looking for fun facts, and then it just said, fun fact, bears basically spend their entire lives hiking. And I'm like, that's not a fun... I mean, it made me laugh, but it's not a fun fact about hiking.
Yeah.
Anyway. For hiking, I'm pretty shocked it's not a higher number. But I guess we live in Colorado, and here people hike and do outdoorsy things a lot more than, for example, in Maryland. Like in Maryland, I feel like if you say you went hiking, I feel like the assumption is, oh, did you go to Sugarloaf Mountain? And everyone's like, yeah, how'd you know? Because that's the only mountain in Montgomery County or whatever. Like, I remember...
I've never even heard of that.
I went there in college a few times, and then after college, I remember, like, here and there, people mentioning it. I think it's between... It's off of 270, but a little more west of it. I mean, it's a nice view. It's not like Colorado mountains, but I've just heard of it a lot because it's a close, nice hike. But the next outdoor activity is camping, which around 40 million Americans go camping each year.
I'm not a camping person. Never been camping, but...
How do you know you're not a camping person if you've never been?
Because if I wanted to go camping, I probably would have.
I kind of want to go with you just to experience it together.
By camping, do you mean like the rugged outdoor camping, like the basic tents, or do you mean like glamping where we have electricity and stuff?
No, like legit camping.
Legit
camping. I went
in
camping when I was a
campgrounds?
sophomore in high school. It was a bonding trip. We had to dig holes in the dirt when we had to pee. It was rugged.
It's rugged. Did you stay in like a lodge, or did you stay like in a tent?
We stayed in tents.
Okay. I didn't know if this was like a retreat getaway where you still had like lodging, like summer camps.
It was a retreat, but it was intense. Not intense, but in tent. Anyway.
Okay. I found this fun fact, and I thought it was actually kind of cool.
This doesn't seem real, but go for it.
Oh, okay. This is from campjellystone.com. 6 surprising camping facts. This is one that I thought was really interesting. Is that apparently you don't always need a fancy gadget to tell how hot or cold it is. During the spring or summer months, you can actually calculate the temperature by listening to cricket chirping. So you just count the number of chirps you hear in 14 seconds, add 40, and you basically find out the degrees in Fahrenheit.
Okay, Mr. Genius that wrote this article, what if there's no crickets around?
When use thermometer.
Also, why do they say you don't need a fancy gadget? A thermometer is not a fancy gadget. I mean, I guess it's a fun fact. I don't know. Not vibing it, really.
Man, throwing shade. You're the one that picked the bears always hike. You're throwing shade at my crickets chirping?
Not bears always hike. Bears basically spend their entire lives hiking. It's funny.
Okay.
Anyway.
Next section is canoeing, kayaking, and rafting. And we just have some fun facts there where we didn't get any statistics. I forgot.
Statistics are 100% of the time that Adam and Marta go kayaking together, Adam ends up kayaking and Marta ends up saying her arms hurt. There's your statistic.
I'm not sure that's going to happen anymore based on you've been working out so much. It's a gun show over there. Flexing.
I'm not
Gotta watch
flexing
out.
right
Hmm?
I said I'm not flexing right now.
Yeah, they're still huge.
Huge?
Strong.
I don't want to be huge.
You know what I meant.
A woman does not like to be called huge. I speak on behalf of all women.
I didn't call you huge.
Or my arms.
Your biceps.
Anyway, do you want to read the fun fact about canoeing, kayaking, and rafting?
Oh. So apparently archaeologists have discovered the remains of a dugout canoe, which points the age of the first canoe to more than 8,000 years old. Nobody knows exactly when canoeing started, but it's believed that they were developed by North American natives. That was from Wisconsin River Outfitters, which I thought was kind of cool that it was developed 8,000 years ago. But it kind of makes sense because it's just a tiny boat.
Yeah, it doesn't seem very technologically advanced. And apparently kayaking dates back at least 4,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
So canoes got kayaks beat because they're double the amount of, they've been around double the amount of time. And if you happen to find yourself in Munich in Germany, you can find the world's oldest surviving kayaks in the North American section of the Museum Five Continents. The kayaks there are from the year 1577.
Definitely not.
Honestly, it's a little
years old.
It's a little shocking to me because kayaking just seems cooler. Like canoes just seem like these old wooden boats that you're like, where did they even get that? And canoes are all like plastic, or not plastic, but some fancy plastic type of material. Kayaks are, and they just always have cool designs on them. And then whenever I see them next to each other, I'm like, obviously I want a canoe. I keep saying it wrong.
Are you sure you want a canoe?
Obviously, I want a kayak. But canoes are double the age. Wow.
Wowza.
Very cool. How do you feel about kayaking and rafting?
How do I feel?
Like kayaking versus rafting. Like whitewater rafting type.
I feel like you have more control in a kayak.
Yeah.
And rafting, I always picture like whitewater rafting where it's really intense and nerve-wracking. I'm not sure if I'm into that.
I remember when 3 years ago, right after I graduated college, I went to Europe. It was a organized group tour, but a bunch of my college friends and I, we all decided to go together. And I think it was in Austria. We visited a bunch of countries, but I think it was in Austria. We did a whitewater rafting activity, and it was wild. Like, you're just bouncing around in the water and getting wet. And you're like, I didn't want to get wet. But then you think, why didn't I want to get wet? Did I not think I was going to get wet? But I think it's really fun. I mean, you have to be
wet
safe.
And wild.
Yeah. But I think I'd say I like rafting more than kayaking because you just sit back and do nothing.
And rafting?
Well, you're not constantly rowing.
But a lot of times when it gets really intense, you're supposed to be like guiding your raft so you don't go down the wrong
path. Yeah, but when I did it a few years back, there was a ton of us on the raft, so I was just chilling and other people were doing
sounds
it.
like you, Boo Bear.
Yeah. And kayaking, if it's just me in a single kayak, if I don't row, I'm just sitting there. So, don't have much luck there.
You just want other people to do the work for you.
Yes, please. Let me chill.
Let me just enjoy this nice scenery. What is this water consistency that's hitting me? God, so inconvenient.
Anyway, next is sailing and motorboating. Apparently in 2017, okay, we have a 12-year-old boy on the podcast. Apparently in 2017, 4 million people in the U.S. went sailing or motorboating. Just sailing. That's cool. So, question for you. Do you prefer sailing or do you prefer motorboating?
Well, okay. Yeah, I'm the 12-year-old boy here. You just winked at me. Made me laugh. I've never been sailing. I've been jet skiing. I've been on a motorboat before. So I would say I prefer that because, oh my goodness. Mainly because it just seems like this may sound very bad. No, not bad, but sailing seems like it takes a lot of effort to get the boat going.
And I'm the lazy one.
No, I'm just saying you gotta raise the sail and do a lot of things. Whenever they show sailing in like movies or TV shows, it seems like they have to do a lot to keep the ship going versus a motorboat can just go without having to have any sort of wind or anything. But
I actually agree. I like motorboats more than sailing because I feel like on motorboats you can just get where you need to go faster.
And drop anchor.
Sailing, I don't know. You're so dependent on the wind and the direction of the wind and, like you said, moving the sails. So if I were to get a boat, which is also on the list for the future, down the line, and living somewhere not landlocked.
Question I have though is you get seasick very easily, so why would you want a boat?
I love being in or around water. And plus, I don't like if I got a boat, I wouldn't want to just be boating the whole time. I'd want to pick where I want to go, either across, I'm thinking of the Chesapeake Bay, for example, start on one side, get to the other and like go get crabs or something, or find somewhere where you can stop in the water and just swim or read or just chill. That's
Gotcha.
what I like. But yeah, I guess we can both agree that we're going to get a motorboat because we don't like sailing as much. Cool.
Fun fact, youngest person to circumvent the world.
Circumnavigate.
Circumnavigate. Whew, apparently I can't read. The world was 16-year-old Laura Decker. That's from ImproveSailing.com.
Can't imagine circumnavigating the world.
Next activity to discuss. Biking. Marta's fave.
I love to bike. So fun. Apparently, 48 million people in the U.S. biked in 2017.
The first human-powered land vehicle, which it's kind of a fancy term to say bike, was constructed by Giovanni Fontana in 1418. But the first prototype of the mountain bike was not developed until 1977.
Which reminds me, I forget if it was, I think it was 2 weekends ago when we were hiking. Some people were mountain biking and they had really thick tires and it just looked really cool. Looked like serious mountain bikers. Made me want to get a mountain bike, but then I remembered trying to count how many times I've biked in the last year, which would be a solid 0.
Yeah, you don't put up any fingers to that.
So, don't think a mountain bike is in the future, unfortunately.
Until we actually get into mountain biking. Except for that seems a little, I wouldn't say scary, but because I remember seeing people flying down, what was it? Was it Falcon Mountain? Is that what it was called?
Mount Falcon? Yeah.
Mount Falcon. And it seemed like they were just going down real quick with those mountain bikes. And one wrong turn could accidentally be a little painful.
Yeah, that's true.
But on to rock climbing.
Yeah. 5 million people in the U.S. rock climb. How fun. Do you like rock climbing, Adam?
Not really. I don't like heights. I like bouldering. But we're the opposite. You like the rock climbing going up high, and I like bouldering because you don't go up that high.
But for me, I like having a sense of security. So for me, I like rock climbing where I'm tethered at the top and I'm wearing a harness because I know even if I slip, and we're talking about indoor rock climbing here, or I am at least. But if I'm wearing a harness and I have 2 ropes like holding me up, I feel safe where even if I slip, I'm not nervous. But bouldering, which is just pretty much rock climbing, but you're not attached by anything, but the highest you go is maybe like, I don't know, it feels like 50 feet, but it's probably only like 15 or 20 max. But it's just so scary
Maybe
to
like
me.
10.
No, it's definitely higher than 10.
Higher than 10?
Positive.
15?
Because when I get to the top of a bouldering, they're called bouldering problems, I think, but I get so scared because nothing's holding me. So if I fell from 15 feet, that would hurt.
But that's the point that's why I tell you that's the point of those gigantic padding that absorbs your fall. And that's why you're supposed to fall and roll backwards because it disperses your energy.
I don't know. I still don't like the fact that there's no security net on me.
But for me, when I get up high in rock climbing, my sort of heights makes me nervous. Even if I'm attached to a rope, I just get very jittery and can't move as much as I would like to. I just get nervous. I don't know. That's just my point of view.
We're opposites in that sense.
Fun fact about rock climbing. The longest rock climb Also considered the hardest, a smooth, sheer granite slab more than half a mile high called the Dawn Wall was made by Tommy Caldwin and Kevin Jorgensen. Ashmi Shirashi, a 13-year-old girl from New York, set a record by conquering Open Your Mind Direct, a famously tough climb in Spain, known as the most technically difficult rock climb done by a female ever. That was from planetairsports.com.
So what does the Dawn Wall have to do with the Open Your Mind Direct?
I don't know. I think it was 2 fun facts in one.
Oh, you just didn't pause, so I didn't understand what the distinction was between the half-mile high wall and then the other wall.
Oh, let me clear it up. There you go. I entered in the Google Doc, so it's spaced more.
Wow, that's really helpful. Not.
What it is? They're separate fun facts.
Also, the Dawn Wall is a documentary that's an hour and 55 minutes long.
Is it about the people that trekked the Dawn Wall?
Yeah. The summary on Google says, legendary free climber Tommy Caldwell tries to get over heartbreak by scaling the Dawn Wall of El Capitan in Yosemite National Park.
El Capitan.
Wait, it was made by them? I think that means that they climbed it. They didn't make the wall.
Yeah, they climbed it.
Okay.
Oh, that you see the images?
Yeah.
Thing is terrifying.
Yeah, Google the Dawn Wall. It's literally just straight up, and you see pictures of a dude that does not look like he's wearing a harness. Okay, yeah. Fall to my death? No, thank you.
Why are they not wearing a harness?
Maybe they are, and I just can't see it. I don't know.
There looks like a little line. If you look, looks like it's coming out of his butt.
So that's cool. Yosemite National Park's on my list of places I'd like to go. Next activity is my favorite, skiing. The popularity of skiing can be gauged from the fact that around 80 countries in the world offer some form of ski area, and 350 million people visit ski resorts across the globe.
Doesn't mean they actually ski, though, but they do visit.
I'm assuming most people that visit ski resorts ski. I'm just thinking of places like Aspen, which I've never been to in Colorado, but I've heard that Aspen is very much so a status thing, so people go there to shop and just hang around, which to me is so interesting because if I go to a ski area and I don't ski or can't ski, I mean, I don't even want to go then because a few years back I ran into a tree and, whatever. I was fine.
Just brushing past that.
I was fine. I was wearing a helmet. It fell off, but I didn't, get any serious injury.
Just
anyway.
Big bruise.
Yeah, I got a pretty bad bruise on my leg, so I couldn't really sit comfortably, let alone ski. But I was on a trip with my parents, so I think it was senior year of college, so there was plenty of work that I could have been doing, even though it was during spring break. So I remember my parents were like, oh, well, you can come to the mountain and kind of sit at the bottom while we ski. But I didn't even want to go because to me it's just so sad if I get there and I can't ski. I did do that one day, but then the other days I think I just sat in the place that my parents rented out because I just get so sad when I get somewhere where everyone's doing something that I want to do, but I can't physically, I'm not able to.
Yeah.
But 350 million people around the globe, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like skiing along with, I made a similar comment for hiking, but I feel like in Colorado it's so much more prevalent here. Just talking to, if you took a random sample set, there would be more people that ski or snowboard. Whereas in Maryland, I feel like almost none of my friends from college that I can think of ski or snowboard. Or a few of my friends visited a few months back and we went skiing together, but they were both doing it. They were learning it more later in life. They hadn't been skiing growing up and things like that.
Well, I've been learning it later in life thanks to you.
I really like skiing because I think it's fun, but you also get to see different sites, like when you go to different resorts. Mm-hmm. And every place, like when we went to Park City, Utah, that looks totally different than any place I've been in Colorado.
Yeah.
Because it's just massive.
I like Park City, Utah the most. Because I always like trails where there's a place to go at the end, and it's a long trail.
Yeah, Park City was awesome.
Long and wide trail. It's nice. Final thing is hunting and fishing. So apparently 15.6 million participated in hunting last year. I've never been interested in hunting. That's never my thing, but a coworker does it every single year. And I don't know. I just don't personally get it, but to each his own when it comes to hunting. As long as, from my opinion, if you're hunting, as long as you're using the meat that you get, you're not just, killing an animal and that's it. If you're using the meat to, like, feed yourself for the next year, because a lot of times when you, I remember listening to a podcast, if you kill, like, an elk, like a big elk, that can fill, like, all the meat on that, it can fill a gigantic one of those industrial freezers with the amount of meat that's on that animal.
I'd believe it.
Which is crazy. But I like this fun fact. Apparently in I think this was related because they want to do a little hunting. So I think that's how it's sort of related. So in 1859, English settler Thomas Austin apparently released 24 rabbits onto his property in Australia, stating, quote, "The introduction of a few rabbits could do little harm and might provide a touch of home in addition to some spot hunting." Oh, there's the hunting thing. But by the 1920s, the population of those rabbits reached 10 billion.
Now we know where the expression mating like bunnies comes from. I don't know if I believe that. From 24 to 10 billion?
I looked at the site and they got it also from Wikipedia, so.
From 24
must be true.
To 10 billion.
That's a lot.
In 60 years?
That's a lot.
I need to look into this and kind of see the rate of bunny mating, bunny reproduction, and look into this. Because 10 billion is an unfathomable amount of rabbits just on one property. I don't really believe it.
Apparently rabbits can have litters from 1 to 14.
How often do they have litters?
The standard gestation period for rabbits is 28 to 31 days, so a month.
So they can have 14 every month?
Yeah, they can give birth once a month.
So one rabbit can have 168 bunnies in a year.
Yeah.
I guess when you start doing exponential math.
Yeah. That can grow very quickly.
It's kind of mind-boggling to me, but I'll believe it. Anyway, personally, I like fishing more than hunting.
Yeah. It's more relaxing. I've always been...
It's not as in your face. Like hunting, I've never been, but I just imagine like shooting the animal, this giant elk or whatever, and then it dies and you gotta cut it. I don't know.
And I think it sort of coincides with our, human nature of wanting, like, things that are more cuddly looking or mammal looking, that are like furry, that have any type of fur, that you're less likely or less inclined to want to shoot it. Whereas a fish doesn't look very cute, to be honest.
Especially when you're trying to descale it. Mm-hmm. And I used to work at a fish or a seafood market, I don't know, 10 years ago back in high school. But I learned a few different skills, but one of them was how to clean a fish and then how to, first you descale it and then cutting it in half and then taking out, all of the insides. I won't include all the details, but I learned that skill. So now if I were to go fishing, I could, take it home and feed my family. I would like to go fishing, actually. I know my dad really likes to fish, so maybe one day I'll go back with him. As a kid, I loved
fishing. I like fishing.
Oh, then we should go together.
Yeah. I go early in the morning if we want to actually catch fish and then, skin them and stuff. Or are we doing catch and release?
Nah. Well, I would catch and release if that was the law.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to get in trouble. And B, if it was a fish that I am not going to eat.
Like catfish?
I'm not going to eat catfish. No offense. But yeah. Here's another tidbit about fishing. That spending long hours in nature with a focused task, such as fishing in this example, is akin to meditation, an activity linked to lowered blood pressure and decreased anxiety. And that really applies to, I think, most exercise, that just moving your body just is linked to being healthier, lower blood pressure for sure, and less anxiety and depression, because when you, I guess in this case, fishing or even any type of exercising, you're releasing endorphins, which have a healthy effect on the human brain.
Did we want to go through the FAQ thing?
Well, first there's one more tidbit about fishing, which I'm not sure I believe either. Marta the skeptic today is what you can call me. But this says that fishing burns an average of 200 calories an hour. I'm sorry, when I fish, I literally sit. Well, I guess this was me when I was little. But I would just sit and hold the fishing rod. And then if I felt tugging, I'd be like, Daddy! Or, in Ukrainian. And then get the fish. I don't know how I would be burning 200. I guess this says if you're walking around to test different spots, recasting your line, reeling in a fish. Okay.
Reeling in a fish can be a little difficult.
Okay, if it's a legit size and not those little...
I don't know. There's been some tiny fish that are a lot stronger than you expect.
All right. Okay. Yeah, we have 3 FAQs that I found on wilderness.org that were about outdoor activities and recreation, and I just thought it would be fun to include some fun facts in general, because we went through activity by activity previously, and now we can just do high level. First one, question: how many people participate in outdoor recreational activities in the United States?
I
Answer.
know.
Nearly 50% of all Americans participated in at least one outdoor activity in 2011. That's actually kind of sad. The other 50% of Americans don't do any outdoor activity.
But maybe it was like outdoor activity in what we listed, like hiking, fishing, like that type of outdoor activity. Because I'm sure there's plenty of people that went outside and did something.
Dear Lord, I hope so. Anyway, the next one. What are some of the benefits of outdoor recreation, Adam?
Outdoor recreation is beneficial for your health. Being out and enjoying nature or the natural world provides physical as well as mental health benefits. It also is a vital part of the economy on both the local and national level. Enjoying the great outdoors promotes health and well-being of the wilderness of itself. Proper use of our public lands creates concern and awareness for keeping them protected and free from development.
Agreed.
I'll ask the final question to you.
I'm ready.
Final question. How important is outdoor recreation to our economy?
Probably not that important if only 50% of people go outside. Just kidding. That was my sarcastic answer. Here's the correct answer. It is estimated that the outdoor recreational activity contributes roughly $730 billion to the economy of the United States.
Wow, that's a
lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Awesome. Because
close to it's $750 billion, which is a lot.
Yeah. I feel like though before we moved, I still don't consider myself outdoorsy per se. Like, I don't really know what outdoorsy means, I guess. In my head, I don't consider myself that. But I feel like I've come a long way from when we lived in Maryland.
For sure. Me too.
And I think it's awesome because so many people, not just in Colorado, I know just in the western states of the United States, there's a lot more national parks and people tend to be more outdoorsy, I think, in general. I'm not saying that no one in Maryland hikes at all. I'm not saying that. But just in general, I've kind of noticed that trend. So I think it's cool that we did some research and we're finding these different activities. Actually, right now, I'm kind of interested in going fishing and camping.
Yeah.
We should do that all in one this weekend. We're having a fun fact. We're having a friend visit this weekend.
So maybe on the podcast next week.
Yeah. Special guest episode. But maybe we'll just throw a wrench in our plans and we'll go camping with him and hiking. That'd be fun.
Hiking, yeah. I don't know if I want to just willy-nilly camp when we don't have any of the equipment.
True.
I guess it's time to wrap it up. Just in under an hour now, but I'm thinking my spiel at the end is going to cause it to go over, unfortunately. But this has been episode 44. Got it right again. Thank you all for listening. Remember, share us with your friends and family. We would greatly appreciate it. All you hot listeners, we appreciate you all for staying with us and listening to us throughout this whole episode and beyond. Remember, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook. All the links will be in the description. You can email us, hotpot@gmail.com, if you want to just talk to us or send any questions or concerns or just general thoughts our way. We would appreciate it so much. Marta, you have anything to say before we wrap it up?
Go outside.
Go outside indeed. Bye, y'all.